Welcome, everybody, to this late start edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. It's what happens when you have a bunch of wrestling fans shooting the shit before the show. I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, from the Skeldon Realms, he's the Lord Skeldon himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's going on?
Not too much, just trying to enjoy somewhat the weather. It keeps getting crazy here. But we got some wrestling news, so I'll hold my rants till later.
And, of course, from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's shaking?
Not too much, and just because I heard Joe say he's going to rant, let's get with a preemptive. It's Joe at ScorchingStream.com.
God, I didn't even say it. The punchline is you got to wait for it to happen, Lance. Then you hit it in.
I don't know. Sometimes I think Lance saying it just before you say anything is starting to be more funny than the jokes, Joe. No hard feelings.
Which is real weird when I'm doing a game stream and I get people posting on the damn thing at Joseph ScorchingStream.com or whatever, and it's like. I'm like, okay, they watched the show.
Well,
and it's spread on different platforms, so you can imagine what I get in different platforms. And people, please, if you're sending me messages, I get people that send me messages on my Facebook page for the Scoldrels Realm. Yeah, go ahead, keep sending me and asking me about that email. Yeah, it is legit.
Keep hitting the email.
Yeah.
We'd like to welcome Terry 3G into the group. All right, guys. Why don't we get into this?
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on. Former WWE star Mike Malek, better known as Mantaur, passed away earlier today at the age of 55 of type 2 diabetes. His daughter announced today that he died peacefully in his sleep. The height of his career was in 1995 through 96, maybe 97, where he worked in the WWE and ECW, and it was a part of Camp Cornette. And I think that itself is, going to put him as a Hall of Famer, Joe.
Oh yeah, that's gonna get off. Don't be so. I told my best friend about this. He's my booker, and we were joking about it. It's like, well, WWE may not make anything of it, but I'm sure Jim Cornette on the Jim Cornette Experience will just give this guy at least 2 seconds of a tribute. And Rick, going over the guys, here's this funny thing. When you're talking about people like Mantaur and those forgettable wrestlers that are given bad gimmicks, you kind of think, okay, they had their one and done and that was it. Briefly, if you guys look up on Wikipedia, Mantaur, he did have quite a kind of a short career, but he had a very active career, and that's the most funniest thing here, because he was in Catch Wrestling Association, which everybody knows that's in Europe. That has a history. He did, as you mentioned, the World Wrestling Federation at the time. Then I did not know that he wrestled in the original ECW and lost to 911 and Hack Myers. And then he went back as Goldust's bodyguard during 1996, the Attitude Era. And I did not know. It was in Your House 7. And I did not know that. They basically, he was part of the match between Goldust and the Ultimate Warrior, and Goldust lost, and Mantaur attacked Ultimate Warrior, and who was obviously overpowered there. So, and Lance, I'm going to throw the rest to you. Like, he did one match in WCW and went back to Catch Wrestling Association. He did a couple indies, but I'm going to leave this one, the little bit of brief in 1997 to Lance. Lance, he was in Memphis. Yep.
Because, and now granted, King dropped the belt and got it back from a lot of people, to be fair. I mean, he won the belt like 72 times, the USWA belt. But I want to say these were both in the old Mid-South Coliseum. where he beat Jerry for the USWA Unified Belt, and 1 week later dropped it back to him.
And you know what? Real quick, while we are speaking while of the Hall of Famer Jerry Lawler, TMR Pro Wrestling Promotions promoted that WWE Hall of Famer. I'm sorry, he announced that the Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler will not be making an appearance next month due to his ongoing health issues. For those of you who do not know, Lawler suffered a stroke back in February, and he is still recovering from that stroke. So.
Yeah. Also, one thing, Rick, Terry 3G posted on the YouTube chat. Yes, Mantaur did die from type 2 diabetes at the age 55. So.
Yeah, and then again, that is a tragedy in which his family, our deepest condolences. So.
That's why everybody make sure you get yourself checked at least once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pre-diabetic for a while, and then thankfully I kind of cut back on the sugars, and I'm no longer pre-diabetic. But still, nevertheless, let's move on. Brian Pillman has parted ways with AEW. Pillman was one of AEW's originals. He teamed up with Griff Garrison and their manager Julia Hart and had some success in the earlier years, but the team eventually fell off the map shortly after Julia Hart left to join the House of Black. Pillman is one of 3 wrestlers been released this past month. Trench and A Fuga del Sol were also earlier released this year. That was tongue-tied. Every time I say Fuga del Sol, my mouth just goes all wry. Joe, you and I have always talked about Brian Pillman and how, he could have, emulated his father. He looks so much like his father, and if he could have maybe recaptured that gimmick, he probably would have done a little bit better.
Here's the thing. There's only one Brian Pillman Sr., and, unfortunately, he's not with us. But when I look at Junior, he's a mix of the early 90s Brian Pillman with the ring skills of kind of like the Pillman of that before he died. This kid has a lot of talent, and the problem with AEW is when you have too many people, in this company, and they're making singles titles willy-nilly, teams get lost in the shuffle. This is where, if you hearken back to the old NWA and Jim Crockett promotions of the 80s, they had the World Tag Team titles, usually controlled by the big hitters, the Horsemen, the Road Warriors, the Rock and Rolls, the Russians, or they had the secondary belts, which was controlled by the Midnight Express, who feuded with the Fantastics and whatever jabroni other team. Something of that. I'm sorry?
I said the Malkies.
The Mokies, yes.
Well, you said a jabroni tag team.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, Mokies were God. Mokamania was running wild back in then. Have to throw that in there. But Rick, in this case, I think if AEW, if they would have stopped making so many of these singles belts, like they have the Mid-Atlantic or whatever, the All-Atlantic belt, which they became the international title.
Yep.
If they would have done a tag team title to follow that, like an international tag team title or the TBS tag team titles, and give it to these other teams to work and grow, that belt would have done what the United States tag team titles did for the Midnight Express, the Fantastics, and so forth. It grew in those belts. So it grew those teams by holding those belts. So anybody who knows professional wrestling, like I do, especially in the past, knows that secondary tag team belts sometimes helps elevate a team to get to that main roster. So I think Brian Pillman Jr., if he would have stuck with the partner, and they would have came up maybe with a Hollywood Blondes hybrid of it, Hollywood Blondes with the gimmick he was doing, I think that would have been more. I know they had the Varsity Blondes, but I just never felt that. I think if he would have done a version of like his father without fully emulating him and being a ripoff, coming off something like that and being kind of the guy like his father was, I think that would have pushed him further up. I just hope that he kind of comes back to AEW because any other place like WWE, they're gonna throw him in NXT. They're gonna whip his ass left to right. He's gonna get so pissed off, so tired of it, and he's gonna quit wrestling and maybe wrestle around the indies where again he's gonna be mistreated by piss poor promoters. So again, I hope they Tony Khan thinks this shit through and thinks, okay, we need a secondary tag team belt, bring back the Varsity Blondes under a new gimmick, something maybe the Hollywood Blondes or something, or the Magnificent Blondes, something where he can show off his true skills. Because out of the team, I think Rick, he was the better worker.
Yeah, and Griff Garrison actually did undergo surgery last year. It was like 2022, and then but he did make his return, but under Ring of Honor. So, which is why he's been active. Unless if you have the Honor Club, you're not going to see him every week. So that's another reason for his absence off of AEW. AEW does try to honor some Ring of Honor wrestlers, but not as much and not as often. And also, Joe, yeah, again, AEW does have a decent amount of tag team titles. Oh, they have the two tag team titles. They have the trios and the duo. But for a second tag team titles, I don't know if it would have gotten a little too mushy. I think it would have stepped into like the WWE, where there's been too many titles just to satisfy everybody.
Well, in this point, if you look at it, the trios belt, in my opinion, is garbage. They're just trying to do the lucha titles, cater to that fast pace. When you look at the other tag teams, when you look at what the Acclaimed, you look at like the Varsity Blondes, and you look at other groups, other people like Jericho's little jabronis that he has, and other little lower, like the Party Posse or whatever the fuck they're called with Matt Hardy, you know, if you would have got that secondary tag title in there and keep it maybe on TBS or TNT, whichever one, and it would have elevated these guys because now the main belts are being hoarded by the main guys. FTR is a sensational tag team, but they're in the top, and no pun intended, but they are the elite. Then you do have the elite. Then you got the House of Black, and then you got whatever, freaking the Lucha Bros or whatever the fuck, and then you got other high level teams. So a secondary tag title lower that can be utilized properly, like the old U.S. tag titles, would have been the best thing for the Varsity Blondes and other teams. Because remember, we were seeing teams on Dark and Elevation, so I think something like this would work for them.
Again, yeah, that's definitely a strong argument. Lance, what's your thoughts on Brian Pillman being gone from AEW?
Well, okay, I didn't really like the way Tony was booking either one of the Varsity Blondes. To be fair, because they were always booked to pretty much job to their opponents. While they both have way more talent than that, I honestly, I'm not going to say, oh, Brian Pillman Jr. should go straight to the E. No, that would be a mistake right now because he has not built up a strong enough name in the business yet to kind of have a little bit of weight to throw around, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or they basically do a Ted DiBiase Jr. to him where he'd be, I don't know, the shaky can or some shit.
Well, I don't know if you want to be Ted DiBiase Jr. Do you need to get arrested?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just saying gimmick-wise and probably push-wise, the same thing that Ted Jr. got.
Yeah.
But
well,
I honestly think to build up his name and hone his skills a little bit more, because I mean the dude has a build for the business and working on the look to hone his skills a little bit more. Go either new or all Japan.
Yeah, I would even say Impact would be a strong possibility. I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers down there, and
yeah, they're all on food stamps.
Yeah.
and I think he has a family to feed.
All right. Uh, moving on. Uh, AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery have been in talks regarding with a new extension of their existing TV deals. According to Fightful, the network has been very happy with Tony Khan's flexibility when it comes to moving shows around and turning them and removing certain ones, and still being able to turn a strong profit. Um, you know what, guys? A lot of people are saying that AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery was like, not gonna get along and not gonna work, and it's obviously quite the contrary. Um, Collision, not the best show yet, but I think that's more of a time frame rather than the actual show itself. Um, but Lance, what's your thoughts on AEW Warner's getting together and for extension?
Well, I mean, it can't hurt. Now, this coming Saturday is going to be a little bit of a rough one because they're doing 2 hours of Collision and a third hour for Battle for the Belts.
Yeah, I myself, I have DVR, so that's why I say thank God for that. Because if it was back in the days where you could either record something or you had to watch it live, I'd be shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Because that's like way too much wrestling for me. And it's not that I don't like the product. I love AEW. I don't have yet to have said one bad thing about it. Well, maybe the game, but that's a different subject for a different night. Joe, your thoughts on Warner Brothers Discovery wanting to give AEW an extension?
It's great because these guys can really they need this added extra flow of cash. They need this extra coverage. They need this more a mainstream media. Again, that's what WWE's trying to do. That's why they partnered with the UFC and all. By doing this, AEW cements itself as as a direct. I wouldn't say you know contender to fight WWE, but it will be the steady number two. They have a great deal partnerships. They have so far the time coverage, the TV coverage. You know, they have the talent. They're doing a lot of stuff. But my only thing with Tony Khan is hope that he kind of throttles back a bit. It's great to put your product out there. It's great to show it off, but the main thing here is you don't want to go too much overboard because then everybody starts seeing so much of your talent and they get bored. So while this partnership with the extension, with Warner Brothers Discovery, it's going to help them greatly. They just got to use that partnership well and the time they have so they don't overexpose their people and it gets pretty much what we see in WWE. If it's not Rollins, if it's not Reigns, if it's not Sami Zayn, then it gets boring.
That's an interesting point, and I want to just take a quick sidetrack on that. SummerSlam's already coming up, and most of the matches cards filled. And from what I read on one report, that a lot of the other wrestlers, bottom guys like Seth Rollins, is yet to even get on the card. So it just shows that WWE is starting to fill up way too much and just not enough time to do it. So, but and unfortunately, AEW is starting to slowly have that problem. They're starting to get a little bit smart by keeping Collision like what you call a soft split when it comes to the brand. But I just hope either way that AEW does not follow suit. If anything, I'd like to see them trim some of the hedges and get rid of some of the people they don't use, or just keep them over on Ring of Honor. So, moving on. Thunder Rosa has been out of action since August of 2022 with a lower back injury. Rosa made a cameo appearance back in May on Dynamite, walking into Tony Khan's office. This was a hint that she could be coming back. However, on her latest vlog, Rosa gave an update on her return. In short, Rosa said that she's still doing tests, which is going to take about another 4 to 6 weeks before taking any further steps. So, guys, it looks like even August, we won't know when Rosa's coming back. Lance, your thoughts?
Well, one, I'll be glad when she does because she's one of my favorites. But the way she put it in that vlog, or the way her doctor put it in that vlog, was we're looking at, before we know anything, 2 to 3 months at least before they give the thumbs up, thumbs down to her coming back in, and they're going to test in it because it's more of a chronic thing now. But yeah, like she said, like, no, the doctor said at the earliest 2 to 3 months after these initial 6 weeks. Well, the 4 to 6 weeks is part of that 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, he said 4 to 6 weeks, more leaning towards the 6 weeks. But either way, regardless, Joe, your thoughts on this?
Well, she's got the longest injury, longest time with an injury. The only other person I can think of that had that long time was Cowboy Bob Orton when he used to wear that freaking cast on his arm. It was the longest freaking injury that he's ever had. The main thing here is.
Well, you know why he kept on injuring it, because he kept on hitting people with it. That's why.
And he had a calcium deficiency. Okay, they can't all be winners.
All right, Joe, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But
Whoa!
Oh, you broke up on that, Joe. Hello, Joe.
Joe.
All right. Well, you know what? Right now, Joe is apparently having some kind of technical difficulties. So
they finally got him. They finally came and got him.
Joe, last year. Hello.
Joe.
All right. We are gonna move on to the next topic while Joe gets himself resituated. Tonight on Dynamite, the Elite and the BCC will reveal their 5th member for next week's Blood and Guts. I can't fucking wait.
Can you say that again?
Okay, yeah, so we're talking about how AEW, on Tonight on Dynamite, the Elite and BCC will reveal their 5th member for next week's Blood and Guts. Wheeler Yuta reportedly injured his hamstring last Wednesday on Dynamite against Kenny Omega. One report is saying that he tore his hamstring and he could be out for up to 6 months. So I'm not sure if that means that the Bullet Club, the Blood Pool Combat Club, are gonna have to pick 2 people now. But right now I'll just have to assume maybe that news is false or it wasn't injured as bad, because when Tony Khan posted this on Twitter, he didn't mention anything about Wheeler Yuta being injured. So I'm gonna have to assume that Wheeler Yuta's injury is okay, I guess. So now, guys, we have to talk about who are gonna be the 5th picks. The picks. Lance, okay, over to you. Who would you pick for the BCC and one team for the Elite?
Well, for the Blackpool, because they've got Takashita over there with them, and Callis has been trying to pull Jericho into his quote family. I think the 5th man is going to be Jericho.
Well, I'm going to agree to disagree with you, because I think Jericho I'd be surprised if we see him on the Elite because of the Don Callis story, and I think Kinoshita Takeshita will definitely be the 5th member for the BCC. That's my pick. Joe, over to you.
You know what? We sit back and we look at these talented guys, and I am cheating a little bit. I'm looking at the roster of AEW, and first of all, I gotta say it is a freaking packed roster. I would not be surprised. Okay, here's the thing: I would not be surprised. Lance, you said Takeshita, excellent person to be part of that group, but there's one other person I was thinking, and then going through the list, and I kind of settled on this one person. What if, with this talent here, they actually decide to grab Jungle Boy Jack Perry into the BCC? Yes, he's not European guy, not like the other guy's a full European, but he would fit so well with a group like this that can nurture him and build him up.
Oh, Takashita is actually taking Daniel Bryan's place because, well, he can't go in this because remember, broken arm.
Oh shoot. Okay. So yeah. All right. So, uh, then Joe actually, that could be a possibility. Um, so now the fifth guy. I guess that we saw Jericho start slightly turning like a baby face.
Yeah.
It was kind of teasing. Um, but he hasn't been a baby face yet since he's been in AEW. So for the past 4 years, he's been, a pretty much, a solid heel. He tends to jump back and forth every now and then, but so far he's kind of stuck to his guns on this. Um, so yeah, if I so now when it comes to Blackpool, the number fifth one, I guess maybe we could say CM Punk. Just kidding, folks. Just kidding.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I do have, when you guys are transferred to the Elite, I do have my fifth for the Elite.
All right.
Okay, we're going there now? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ricky Starks.
Ooh, that's definitely a good pick. Absolutely. He's also going to be facing CM Punk on Collision for the Owen Hart finals. And, well, we know that poor Ricky Starks is not going to win that one. So, yeah, I think a big win tonight, for next week on Dynamite might be definitely a thing he's going to need. There was, at the end of the show, some reports suggested that he was like teasing to turn heel, but I didn't really see that. And as far as Punk on the being in a part of the Bullet Club or whatever, Blood and Guts, not gonna happen. There was a joke that he pitched the idea to AEW to be a part of it, and neither team wanted anything to do with it. But again, that was just all false rumors. So.
And there's still a little bit of negativity between the groups, so between Punk and them. So
yeah,
I don't really see them. And then with Punk having a big ego, can you imagine him trying to be part of the Blackpool Combat Club? Moxley would definitely not be with it. You have the other guys that are in there, Cesaro, whatever. They're not going to really be all that great with him. And if you look at the roster, I mean, guys, if you decide to look at the roster from AEW and just go to allelitewrestling.com/AEW-roster, they got a lot of guys in here, mostly jabronis. I'm sorry. Maybe you got 10% at the best, and then everybody else looks like they're fucking jabronis. There isn't really anybody that grabs my attention unless they get Big Bill, which was Big Cass, to be part of the Blackpool Combat Club because they can have that big boy. It's really, that's the only person. I don't see anybody else that can fit this group.
Yeah, you know what? I have to agree. I think it's just going to be one of those things we're going to have to wait and see tonight. And, I will definitely be watching, and I'll be definitely posting all the latest news on what's going on tonight on Dynamite in our chat room. I want to move forward again. Now, AEW Fight Forever has been out for about a week, and apparently the THQ Nordic announced that they will be bringing the Stadium Stampede match to AEW's Fight Forever in the near future. According to AEW, this will be a free download. And it's an extra match. And I'm gonna say honestly, I've been playing the game. I like the game. Do I love the game? I can't really say that just yet. There are very few limited match types, and I think that this extra match would probably maybe sweeten the deal just a little bit. Joe, I'm not sure if you've played the game yet.
No, but I've seen a lot of streamers, and there's been a lot of mixed feelings about it. The wrestling part is okay. The little mini games and all this other stuff, it's kind of what downs the game. Is like they really decided to kill really killed this product to me. I know from other players. I've talked to other gamers who tried it, and it really. I saw it and I went to play No Mercy on N64 with so I'm right now I'm just gonna hold off. I was gonna get it, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna hold off on it. I know Terry 3Gs, he made I think Terry got it.
Yes, he did.
He got it. He made an actual Joseph Scolder and Knight character in there. Thank you, Terry. You know, I appreciate that. I know that I appreciate. You got to put a Lance in there, and you got to put a Rick in there too. Might as well throw a Chloe.
I
in
couldn't
there.
even make me.
Zoe.
Yeah.
So
And that's another issue. The creative part is so limited parts. You know,
yeah,
and I don't care if it's a little bit of like a gamey, bulky look, and that's it kind of has an arcade feel to it, and that's fine. You know, that really didn't bother me. The mini games, yeah, complete waste of time.
yeah.
You know, I know that they were trying to do something different, but you know what? Different is not always good. I wish they put their efforts into say an extra type match. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
When you look at the game, the gameplay is okay. Again, give it 6 months, everyone. Then
yeah.
get the game.
Yeah, like that's pretty much what I said. I mean, like I said, I don't regret not buying, like waiting out because I've been wanting to get it. And the gameplay, it's very solid. It's solid gameplay, but very, very limited moves. So you're gonna be doing the same move over and over again. So that's another issue. Joe, if you've been playing No Mercy, then you'll probably will like Fight Forever.
Yeah, that's kind of what everybody's been saying. If you play the WWE No Mercy on the N64, it is exactly that type of game. Again, the gameplay looks good. It still needs to be tweaked, but they got to get rid of the mini games. Whoever came up with the mini games, they probably thought it was like they wanted to throw in Mario House Party. If you ever played that, or Mario Party,
Oh yeah,
where you
or Just
do the
Dance.
little right, some stuff like that, like the little extra stuff in the game that you can play. See, I'm not into that. If I'm gonna play a game, I want to have either GM mode. I want to play universal mode where you make your roster, your people, your ring, and all. WWE 2K's got it right to some stance. That's my type of gameplay. When it comes to playing little mini games, I'm not interested in the little mini games. I just want to play that. When we get to the end, Rick, before we end up, I have a thing I want to throw at you guys. A what if scenario, or what if group scenario. But let's continue on.
All right, we're gonna move on. So now, John Cena and The Rock or Dwayne Johnson have been two of the most huge wrestlers in wrestling today. As we know, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, moved on to moved on to movie stars, and he's been a huge movie star.
Yeah.
John Cena has just recently started over the maybe past couple of years, and he's kind of not doing so well, but the funny thing is, Eric Bischoff recently talked in an interview, and he said that he could see John Cena be a bigger movie star than Dwayne Johnson is one day. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy smoking? I have nothing but respect for Eric Bischoff, but that guy obviously has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to the movie industry. Lance, help me out here.
Well, okay. For one, got to clarify one little thing. Cena actually started getting into movies around 05 or 06 because The Marine came out about the time I graduated from high school. Now, here's the thing. Now, keep in mind, this is also coming from the guy that said he was going to bankrupt or put Vince McMahon out of business. Hey, Eric, how'd that work for you?
Yeah, exactly. But I still think that Dwayne Johnson, I mean, he has the Fast X series. Yeah. He has the Jumanji series, and he's done a whole boatload of other high priced movies. $1 billion movies.
This is part of Cena's thing. Fred's dad in a Nickelodeon movie. The Marine. Getting shot in the head at the end of the second Suicide Squad, which I got a little bit of sick pleasure in. Getting blown the hell up at the end of Fast X. And banging Amy Schumer in one of her movies.
Oh, okay, that's can't fault the guy for that one. But yeah, but still,
Uh,
right
uh,
now, his latest movie right now, he's gonna be in the movie Barbie, and not as a Ken. He's gonna be like as some like other co-star. Not that I'd be interested, but it just shows you that he can't even get the lead role for a Barbie movie.
yeah.
Joe, what's your thoughts on all this?
Hell, I got a better chance of being in a Barbie movie. It'll be my character will be that disgruntled Ken.
Because he's a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Exactly. Here's the thing. I'm going to go on the limb here. Eric Bischoff is not that far off. Remember, in movies today, it's always the trend, and things seem to end. Right now, we all know that Rock is not only a great actor, he's a great athlete. He's done a lot of stuff, but also he's been involved in controversies. And even if it's never not legit, and I've read some of them controversies and stuff that they claim he's been into and stuff like that. Yeah, it's even if it's proven false, it still tarnishes your reputation slightly. And this is Hollywood, folks. It's not like you last long here. You know, for something, you put it like this, sometimes your career doesn't last that long. And sometimes you got to take a step back. Look what happened with Stallone, with Schwarzenegger, with a whole bunch of these other great actors who were hit the scene, they were strong, and then they just take a step back and they die down and then they come back. Rock has been in the movie industry for so long. He's proven not only he can be a straight serious guy, he can portray comedy, he can do so many themes in there, but again, this is he's a big man in sometimes a little man's world. So, you know, sometimes that paths don't always are open. John Cena, if we've seen him come in, he's done like Lance. I'm glad you rolled out some of the movies he's done and stuff. He's still there. He's got that. Him and Mark Wahlberg can team up because they look almost alike now. It's stuff that his career is still going. Rock was the same way. Rock had an explosive introduction in movies because he was in the Scorpion King when he first came out. So that introduced him, that pushed him, and then showing that he could do other roles like in Jumanji and in the little animated series Moana, whatever the fuck was the name.
I think you're gonna get that's what the name was.
And he can do
he did voiceovers.
He can do drama too because he was in a really good movie called Faster.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a good movie too.
But like I said, sometimes while he is a sensational talent, sometimes in the movie industry, as we all know, sometimes you got to find that other person that can fit a certain role and appearance. This is nothing racial, it's nothing like that. But sometimes if you're in a role, like he was Black Adam, he was a very great villain. Sometimes John Cena can fit, a Marvel movie. He could be like, I forgot what character he was in one movie, but you look at it, sometimes that build in Hollywood, you sometimes need a different person to fit a different role. That's where John Cena can come in and fill in some roles with that. He can be, because Rock's been in the movie business for well enough, I would say, 2 decades already or more?
Damn near 3.
Okay, so 3 decades. It's going to start slowing down. See, over on the YouTube chat, Terry 3G says Rock was in the Tooth Fairy. Yes, again, he showed his great skills there. Cena is like a GI Joe type doll. So,
if we're comparing them to, let's just say, wrestling levels in Hollywood, The Rock would be a main event guy.
Exactly.
John, and I love that I get to say this, John's a mid-carder.
In movies, yes.
Yes.
And again,
mid-card guy.
And it all depends on the roles. Rock, know your role. But in this case, while there's some Rock's a big guy. There's so many roles you can put in there. It's not like he can be like Indiana Jones or Batman.
True. But actually, Terry 3G said this perfect. They said, Cena bigger than The Rock? Nope. Hell, he won't be bigger than Batista, who is starting to reach Rock's level in some movies. So
but
yeah, I'd put him. I'd put John Cena probably at Batista's level. He's gonna do some B card movies, maybe a couple top rated movies with but he's not gonna actually have a brand of his own. You,
No.
you know.
this and you just said it right there. The Rock is known for Fast and Furious mostly. That's his theme. Batista's known for Guardians of the Galaxy. Right now, Cena has not got that one role that can actually fit, that can be, he's not going to be a He-Man. He's not going to be, he can't be like a Batman. He doesn't have
I
that
wouldn't want to
right.
be a Batman.
No. Hell no.
Hell, with so many people being cast as Batman nowadays, but I love they bring back Michael Keaton. Great, great thing that they did with the Flash movie was so, but I love how they did tributes to all of the actors who portrayed the different roles. Too bad they didn't have Linda Carter as Wonder Woman back then. But again, I think once he finds his niche, that he can be a certain character that has longevity, I think that will work. I don't see him in Star Wars. I don't see him in Star Trek. I don't see him in. He could be in a Marvel or DC type movie, as long as the character has longevity. I think that's the only thing that separates him from Batista and The Rock, is that these guys have cemented themselves in a franchise that keeps them going, and while Rock ventures a little bit off to do other stuff, Batista mostly kind of sticks to the Guardians of the Galaxy type deal. He'll do little spot stuff, but I think he mostly sticks to that.
Actually, speaking of where I know we're getting back on what we're talking about movies here. Um, Batista's actually recently doing another movie, um, and it is going to be Drew McIntyre is going to be up in the movie. The name is called Killer's Game. It's an action comedy where a veteran assassin, Joe Flood, which is played by Batista, uh, was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. So to avoid any pain and suffering, he puts a hit on himself. Of course, shortly after he realized he was misdiagnosed, but now he still must fight for his life against his former colleagues, and I guess McIntyre is playing as one of the assassins that was going after him. Um, I don't think it's a big role, but it's just interesting that you kind of brought that up. How we just always see wrestlers just transitioning, and how Batista is willing to do just about any other kind of role. So, but yeah, I still don't see Cena. Yeah, not yet. I just don't see it. Him
No.
being, he'll get movie roles for his name, but if nobody knew who John Cena was, I don't think he would be able to get even B-rated movies.
Because I'll say this: Cena ain't that good of an actor.
No, I have to agree with you on that one. All
It
right,
again, it really depends on the role they did give him. So,
fair enough.
but anyway, here's my last topic, and everybody can do this. The perfect four horsemen type stable in AEW. Like, I looked at everybody on the roster. Of course, MJF has to lead it. He's the voice. He's got everything down packed. FTR, the best damn tag team. The fourth member, that's the tough part. It's either a Barry Windham type guy or Lex Luger, and for that, I know that will never happen. It could have been Warlow, but I was also looking at, if you wanted to help an up and comer, Brock Anderson.
Brock Anderson, I'm not sure. I'm not too saying keen on. I was gonna say if you want like a person like the strong guy. I would definitely say Powerhouse Hobbs. And the funny thing is, all these guys, I think, wasn't FTR in the pinnacle with MJF?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
they do have history. Um, But then, of course, you need to have that one female in there. So I don't know. I mean, I'd say Ty Mello or maybe Anna J.A., but she's in the JAS right now. But it would be interesting to see that. But, it's a matter of that's more of a fantasy type factions, which unfortunately another thing you can't do in the game.
Yeah.
So, but nevertheless, I want to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to thank Terry 3G, of course, for hanging out with us. For those of you who are listening, if you want more of HWR, you can check out for our archives. I have also done a lot of tribute videos for wrestling and personal videos. But if you want more of the latest news, head on over to Wrestling Rants and our Facebook section. Joe, you're over at Sculdron Realms. Tell everybody about it.
Yep, definitely. Come check me out. Just do the hashtag Scoldrons Realm. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Now on Kick. So you guys could definitely check me out. Follow those links there. I play games from yesterday to today, from PC to console. Lance, I'm actually enjoying more Mega Man 2 than I did Mega Man 1.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a continuation. Later on tonight, I'm going to be doing that stream. It'll be in Mega Man 2. I understand the Mega Mans get a lot better in the series when it comes to NES.
They do.
A couple of the Super Nintendo versions are a little bit rough, but we'll see how that goes when I eventually get there. So you can check me out. Also, the tribute to Andy, that son of a bitch, I am doing my Scoldrons Paranormal Realms. The weather hasn't been great here to do the shots that we've been looking to do. So we are going to be looking to do it either Friday, and then I will do a lot of editing, uploading it. So that's another project. So it'll also be on Scoldrons Realms channel. So make sure you guys check that out. Again, it is Scoldrons Paranormal Realms. That's going to be separate from what I do with the game streams.
All right, Lance, you're over at Lance Moss TV. What do you got going on over there?
Well, every Tuesday night we go live on Last Month TV, and friends, we never know who's going to show up. And it's at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern, anywhere else. You do the math. And also, I want to say a quick congratulations to one Nikki Cross, who got her master's on Monday.
Yes, absolutely. Thumbs up to Nikki Cross. All right. So, for the Hardcore crew, I'm your Hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see ya when we see ya.
Buy this shirt.
I didn't even do a bad rant, see? So it's good.
Well, there's one time for everything, Joe.